making views, parsing data, storing data on the device, sending it to the API. What kind of gibberish is this? Don't worry, these are just a few iOS development concepts. Well, honestly, not the easiest one. iOS development is useful, interesting, and most importantly, is highly paid. Hello, my name is Ilya Postoenko. I'm a senior iOS developer. I have been working in technology sector for over 7 years and have a decent knowledge to share with you today. I'm happy to welcome you on the first module of iOS development for complete beginners course. Today I want to tell you about basic concepts of iOS development and why every business or organization needs an application. Thinking that iOS development is complicated or you're not sure that programming is for you, well, there is a lot of stuff to learn, but we will start from very basics, so it's going to be easy for everyone. And I will start from answering the question, what is iOS development? Basically, you have a computer in your pocket, which can make some useful things and solve some real-life problems for users. We, as developers, solve those problems by providing the user-friendly interface which connects the phone resources and sends or transfers some user data. And if you want to make an application and solve those problems, and more importantly, make money on it, you have to be familiar with those platform-specific things. It's how to write code, how to build your application, how to communicate with outer world, and how to store your data inside the application and user device. And in this course, you will learn from ground up how to do this by yourself. And there are a few main points: Swift, SwiftUI, Swift data, architecture approaches, and practice, practice, and practice. And there are a few important things that you have to know. Firstly, iOS development is the process of creating the mobile application specifically for iOS platform of Apple. Apple also has different platforms as iOS, iPadOS, macOS, tvOS, and most recent one, VisionOS, but we won't cover it at the start. Development involves design, coding, testing, and deploying the application tailored to iOS devices. And iOS development is primarily done by Swift programming languages and Apple's development tool stack Xcode. And what are key concepts of iOS development? First of all is Swift programming language. It's basically a language, but you are not communicating with a person and other people. You are communicating with computer and telling it what to do. But now it's done in very beginner-friendly manner. Second is UI development. As an iOS developer, you will create different components of applications such as buttons, images, navigations, and different parts of application providing data and making everything smooth. Third of all is data processing. And by UI and Swift, you will operate with data, which can be stored on locally or being sent to some server to process this data. And fourth is deployment. After we created our application, we need to distribute it to our users. And for iOS, we will use the App Store infrastructure, which gives us the possibility to create a build and distribute it to our tester or manual testers as a beta testers, and then publish it to Apple Store publicly. This course is divided into two sections, in which you will at first learn the key concepts and basics of Swift programming language, and in second you will build a small application that will represent some useful data. Thank you for choosing to enroll in my course. I greatly value your feedback and would appreciate it if you could take a time to leave a review. Your opinions and insights are essential for me. Thank you for your time, and I wish you great success. Let's move on to the first section. Hello, and welcome to the first module of iOS development course. Basically, in this module, we will cover the basics of iOS development, the Swift programming language, and basic UI infrastructure for your future app. Basically, I would like to start from the topic, what is the iOS development basically? From my perspective as a current iOS developer, and from your perspective like a future iOS developer, basically we are solving real people problems. Because we, in our pockets, we have a computer which can make all the things done just by tapping our thumbs. And we, as iOS developers, we just not making some views, some UIs, some animations. We don't store only some user data on the phone or connect them to the internet. Basically, we're helping people to solve their problems, and we are doing the applications for different organizations or companies. Basically, there are big companies, small companies, some startups, or maybe some non-profit organizations, maybe public transportation, etc. And you, with your phone in your pocket, you can do whatever you want, and you can solve whatever problem you need. Basically, because someone or some other iOS developers who did those applications for you. And basically, those iOS developers, they did it on purpose, and they did it on purpose of that company, which distributes the application for you. So that's basically the point of iOS developers. You're not just writing code or etc. everything in the code that we will learn and cover in this course. Basically, you're helping people, and that's the main point that you have to keep in mind. Good luck, and please proceed to next lessons. And as any development, you have to start with programming language. And what the programming language is, basically, it's a connection point between you and between the computer. Because computer, if you learn some more about computer science and how computer actually works, there works a little bit differently than we actually know about that. Basically, computer are working with current, with input and output electrical streams or something like that. And we, as a programmers, we have like output terminal, some kind of output terminal that we can say to computer what we have to accomplish with that. With some data, with some user input, with some data that we push to network connection or something like that, or we want to store some data on our phones. And basically, all of that we can accomplish with programming language. And with iOS development, basically there are two programming languages that are available for development. One of them is Swift. It is more modern one. It came to us on 2014, and now currently it's like the strictest point basically to get into iOS development. It's beginner friendly and also have a lot of different cool features for pro programming, pro or something like that, or advanced programming. Second language basically is Objective-C. It's like the older one. Basically, the Objective-C, it was a language that was used on first Mac computers. And basically, you also can learn Objective-C, but it's not the best point basically to get into iOS development. And it's like more complex, it's less user-friendly because you have to learn how to read it. But Swift programming language, the diamond point of it, basically you're reading it like English letters and English language. So if you know English language, basically I hope that you're watching this video in this course, then it won't be a big problem or a big issue for you to learn the Swift programming language. We will use the latest version of it. It's 5.9 Swift, and we will deep into it in the next lessons. So please proceed into it. And how to start with iOS development? Basically, you need two things to start programming and to start developing for iOS. First of all, here I have my Mac computer, and you also need to have Mac computer because it's like a basic point of starting the iOS development. Because the second reason and second thing that you have to have for iOS development basically is Xcode. Xcode is IDE, or just an integrated development environment, and basically it's available only on macOS computers because it's developed by Apple, because you will be developing for Apple platforms, and basically that is the only option to have Xcode downloaded and accessible to you. So please be ready that you have to have the Mac computer. And now I will describe how to install your Xcode and create the first project here. So basically you have your Mac computer here, and you have to just go to App Store, write down here Xcode, you see, and here Basically, it's like a blue scene with a hammer there. It says that it's developer tools, and you have to just click it and check that basically the developer here is Apple. So it's official Apple product. And here I have the update button, but you will have some kind of get or download button, and be ready that you have to install 3.4 gigabytes to start working with that. So just be ready that you have to spend some time just to download and install it, but after that you are good to go. So I have already downloaded it, and I will just go and straight open my Xcode here. So you can see, so it opens. I have the 15th version 15.0, and basically it's like a version that comes with iOS 17.0, iPadOS 17.0, macOS some kind of Sonoma like the latest one, and that's all. So basically you will have just the latest Xcode available that you will download. Maybe if you are watching this video a bit later, then you will have the more modern version of Xcode, but currently I have this one. And if you want to start just coding for the next lesson, we will go with you to File, New, and we will create the playground. And here with playground, we will just create the blank one here, you see. So here is the blank playground. Click next, just save it somewhere on your computer, and here you're good to go. So I'll just double click on the top bar here, and it goes all over the full screen. And here is your first code that you could see with iOS development. Now, let's stop for a moment. Udemy has already asked you to leave a feedback, or will do it soon. I know it may seem a bit earlier, but that's a platform policy. Udemy values your first impressions of the course, so I would greatly appreciate your honest feedback. Your mark helps me to deliver this course for more students who want to start with iOS development like you do. In an open space for comments, feel free to share what you would like to learn from this course and the goals you want to achieve. I will do my best to assist you in turning your wishes into reality. And let's start with the playground tour. Basically, this is the first ever playground that you will write your Swift code just to play with it, just to understand basic key concepts about that, and after that we will proceed to some more complicated stuff. But don't worry, I will pass you through all the things that you could do with myself. So basically I will help you with that, and here you have to understand few key concepts. Basically in Xcode or just in a playground, you have like basically a document. It has a .swift type of document, and here you can write basically everything that you want, like just a real word or etc., some text document here, but not every text will be described and will be understood by Swift system or Xcode. And here, as you can see, I have written some kind of statement here. I will get into it in 1 minute, but here if I write some random letters, random some kind of text here, it will not understand me what basically I want to do with it. So here it gives me some kind of errors here that he cannot find some part of that code in scope. So here I will delete it, and I will teach you how to print stuff. Basically, what is printing? We have some kind of execution lines there, and as you can see, this document, it has like lines here, lines numbers from first to second to third to fourth to fifth, and in like in every document or in every text that you read, basically in programming, execution goes one by one from first line to second to next to next to next. So in our side, basically, if we want to do something with the computer, we have to say it to it, like what I want to from you to do, and we have to do like and give any instruction to that computer just to execute our code. And from my side, from my perspective, let's start with basic concept. Printing is basically just a printing to the console. And here on the bottom side, you can just drag it. Maybe currently you have just like on this side, in this state of view of Playground, you have only a document. But you can drag here, as you can see, if you point to the bottom line, bottom bar of it, and you just drag it, you will see the console. And if you just put your mouse on the blue button here, just to execute your code, I will do it, you can see that our executable statement print actually did something in our console. And basically here I passed to him some kind of text of hello world. It's like the very first text that you would do in your programming journey or something like that. And basically I did print hello world to the console. And here you can not only print the hello world, you can print some other text, like some other text. And if we put our mouse here and we execute it, we will see that it has two lines, that we executed two print statements. Basically, it's like hello world and some other text. So here you can see that basically the syntaxes of it is like print, and within the quotes, you can pass some text here. If here I pass some text, then it will understand it, basically, because I want from computer to print this random text. But if we write that random text like that, then Xcode will not understand us. So that's all. So that's the key concept about printing, and we will use it. And second part that you will also see here, it's a command. If you put two slashes here and write any code here, then as you can see, Xcode also loves it. It's okay with that text because it's under two slashes here. And basically it's like a command. If we run that code here, you can see that it executes only three sprites, like hello world, some other text, and this random text that we passed here. But it actually doesn't see that line because it's a command. And you have a choice that you can pass some random text here, or you can pass some important point about next line here. And here, like, we can comment that on next line we have some important point for other developers to understand about it. So basically this is the tour of Playground, and we will work with it in next lessons as well, just to understand. And here on the right side, as you can see, we can see kind of executable parts of that in the console we have a printable statements, but on a right side, right bar or something like that, we can see the contents of all the lines. Here we can just see our strings, like a text variable or something like that, but it will be also shown on the right, and on the bottom side we will see just printable statements. So that's the introduction into Playground tour, and please proceed to the next lesson. So now let's proceed with new concept for you. It's like a second, the most important and the basic one is variables and constants. Let me describe it to you. What is that? Variables and constants, those are just boxes that contain some value. From our side, we operate as a programmers and as iOS developers, we operate with some data, and we have to pass some data between the user input, between UI, and between some local storage of data or something like that, or we have to operate with that data, maybe like to increase, decrease, or maybe just to like format that data or something like that. And we have to store it somewhere in a code if we want to operate with that, because it doesn't fly in air somewhere or something like that. And we have just a concept of variables and constants. How does it work? Variable or constant is kind of box here, and it can be closed or it can be opened. That's the difference between constant and variable. Variable is an open box and constant is a closed box. And this box contains some value, contains some kind of data, and we can operate with that data. And let's start with the simplest part of that. It starts from the keyword for variable or constant. It starts from the name of that box, of that variable or constant, and the actual value here that we have to assign to that box. So let's proceed to our code and let's write first your ever variable. It looks like that. We are just writing var, and as you can see, it's a bit pinky one. That's like a color of that var. Basically, it's like a variable. It's a key point, it's like a keyword of Swift programming language that we are letting Swift know that we want to describe to him. And here we are starting with keyword var, basically just to get him know that we want to create a variable. And we will call this variable like first variable. And this one, the second one is a blue, as you can see, is basically a name of this variable. And this is like a name of this box where we contain our value. And let's start with the second simplest part of that we assign some kind of text there. And text, as you remember from previous lesson, basically it contains in some quotes, and we can write some text, like some text. So here, congrats, we created our first variable. And this variable, it's, as you can see, here's a var keyword, here's the name of this variable, and here's the value of this variable. And here's a like operand of equals. Basically, we are just assigning the variable. And let's proceed to constant. Constant is almost the same. Basically, it's closed box, and I will show you the difference in code between them. But basically, we are writing let first constant, and here's some text in constant. So basically, as you can see, they are pretty similar. There are just a difference between the keywords here. It's variable and let. Let is for constant, and here you can see that the first variable and first constant names, and basically those are values in those variables and constant. Here you can ask me, Ilya, if I name that constant the same way as I did with variable, let's try. And you can see that Swift gets us. He catches us the error here. And basically this error says to us that invalid redeclaration of first variable. So Swift says to us that, hey, Ilya, here's already a variable that named first variable. So please, like, think about another name for this variable, another, or this constant in this point. So you can just change the variable, because Swift cannot have two different boxes with the same name. That's the key point. So we will return to first constant here, and let's execute it, what it will show us. So here you can see we don't have anything in our console, because we are not printing anything, but we have some values in our variables. And here on the right side, you can see that it was assigned to first variable and first constant. And what is the difference between variables and constants? As I described to you that it's closed box or open box. Basically, the closed box is first constant. We would like to try to reassign some value. So we call it first constant. So this time we are like speaking to that box or speaking to that constant, and we would like to assign to it some other value. Like that. So let's try to execute it. And here you can see it gives us an error that we cannot assign to value first constant, because first constant is a let constant. So it's constant value, and you cannot change a constant value because it's a constant. But if we do the same thing with variable, like Ctrl-C and Ctrl-V here, you can see that it does fine, because first variable, it's a variable, and its value can be changed. So here, as you can see, as the first time, the first variable value was some text. But on the third executed statement here, first variable, we reassign the some other text, and basically it become to be some other text. And let's use the statement that you already know, print. And let's print not the text that we did last time here, like here, but we can actually pass that variable or constant to print statement. So let's delete this part, and let's pass here a first variable. So here, what we are talking to Swift here, we want from Swift to print basically to print something to console, and we would like to take the data from this first variable. And our first variable, it contains some text, or it contains some other text. And here is like a small challenge. What do you think that what would be printed by our Swift? I will give you a few seconds to think about that. That we have print, and we have a printing of first variable. What will be printed to our console? So let's try and execute it. So here, as you can see, we printed some other text, because it is the value of first variable. And first variable, you can say that, hey, Ilya, we assigned here some text variable, like some text actually, but here we changed it here to some other text. And basically we changed the variable to some other text and then passed to print part of it. And we got our results that it's some other text. If we put print statement before that for first variable here, and let's try, we will have two print statement here. And as you can see that we are taking the value from first variable before we changed it and after that. So basically this box contained some text here. We took that value for printing, for consoling. Then we changed this value. And then we took this value, the new one, and also put it into the console. And as you can see, the console shows us the part of it. And this is basically the key concept of variables and constants. And as you can see, if we pass constant here, first constant, and if we try to print it again, and if we try to reassign the value, and if we try to run it, here, as you can see, the same question and same error about that it cannot assign a value to a let constant because it's a constant. But if we comment this part here, as you remember about comments, and we try to run it, basically we will see that first constant is not changed and it has the same value here of some text in constant. And basically this constant is taken by print statements here and here. And we have two print statements of some text and constant. So thank you very much. This is variables and constants. So, and let's continue learning key concept and basic things of Swift. In previous lesson, we covered the concept about variables and constants, and there we used only the text value. Basically, it's a string. In this lesson, I would like to describe to you some other types. Basically, what the type is. You remember the key concept about the box, that we store some data in, some kind of string value, that we created our variable or constant, and basically it's a box that contains the text or some other value. Key concept about data types, that this box can contain some different type of data. The same way, like we communicate with other people and we like say numbers, we say some text, or we just asking them if there is something there, or if there is absent something there, or something like that. We operate with some kind of data between other peoples. Really? Like it? The same way works the programming language, that we have different data types between the communications there inside the language, and we can use also this in our code. So let's proceed to our code here. I will clear the printable statements from last lesson. And here, as you remember, those are comments, just not to forget anything. We have strings, numbers, and boolean. And I will describe to you what's the difference here. So let's create some other constants, like some text here, and we will assign some text. Here, as you remember, that it's like a keyword. Some text is like a name of this box, of this variable or constant. Here it's a constant. And we will assign some kind of value there of text, some text. Here, some things happens in Swift. Basically, the part that you don't see here, but it really does exist, that's the data type of this constant. This construction, or like this syntax, says to us that basically the type inside this box, inside this constant, is a type of string. And here, as you can see, it also works fine, because like z code some text 1 equals to some text, and some text 2 is also equals to some text. Basically, as you remember, those are two boxes that contain the same value. It can be. There cannot be two boxes with exact same numbers, but there can be two boxes with the same value. And here, basically, there are two constants that have some value there inside of some text. And basically, the second constant, we have the exact type of that. And you can see it's a type of string here. If we execute it, it will work great, because basically it's here some text and some text. So this part of string, it called of type inference. Swift, as a programming language, it assumes that you pass here some text part. And it knows that it is a text, it is a string data type, and it has already inside of it that some text 1 is also a string. So we shouldn't just write it like hit, it's like a colon plus a string value. But under the hood, you have to understand that basically Swift knows that some text is a data type of string, but we have other data types. And let's try to go to that. Let's create another constant, let number equals 5. And you can see it's like another data type. Basically, it's 5. It's not text. It says a number that says it's like a 5 of everything. It's like some kind of amount. And here, what goes there? Basically, it's a constant, a box that contains number 5, and it's called number. Under the hood, it is a type of integer. Number 1, let's call it like that. So those are also two boxes with name of number and number 1, and it has a value of 5, and this value is basically an integer number. Integer says us that it doesn't have any digits after the point. It's an integer number, and it has only the strict values of 5 or 4 or 3 or 6 or etc. And if we just execute it, here on the right, you can see that we have two constants that have 5 inside of that. We can write another value like 5 or 7 or something like that, and you can also say that those are different. And as you remember with print statement, we also can print not only the text values or variables or constants, we also can print our numbers. So let's execute this code. And as you can see, it's printed 5 here. I printed the number. Number is the name of the constant here, and constant which has a value of 5. If we change it to number 1, it's like another box. So we are taking the data from box called number 1. If we print it, you will see that it goes with 7. So 7 basically is a value of our second constant, which has type of integer. We have other type of double value, basically with some value or some digits after the point, like 5.7 or something like that. But I will show you it in the next lesson. And the last basic data type is Boolean. And Boolean, what is the Boolean? Basically, it's like a data type that says us true or false. It's like yes or no. If you have some kind of question, like, is there something in that box? And you say yes, then it's like a data type of Boolean of true. There's a simple concept, like true or false. If you ask anything about like a simple question where you can answer yes or no, then it's basically a data type of Boolean. But in programming languages, it's called like Boolean, but in our communication of humans, of people, it's called like a simple question. So let's create a constant or variable with data type bool. Let Boolean equals to true. And now there is also a type inference that basically Swift understands us that Boolean constant, it has a type of Boolean. And basically, let's name it for you just to be clear. It's like Boolean constant. And basically, it's like a box, a constant that named Boolean constant. And let's make another one, Boolean constant 1 with data type of bool, you can see, equals to false. And basically, that's everything that we have. If we try to put some value that it doesn't belong to Boolean type, here, as you can see, Swift gives us an error that cannot convert value of type integer to specify type Boolean. So yeah, we have only two options, basically it's true or false. And as you can assume that we also can print it. Let's print it. It's Boolean constant. And it says to us that it is true. Perfect. That we have some kind of Boolean constant that have a value of true or false. Let's print another one. It would be false. Perfect. So that was a key concept of basic data types that we can assign to our variables and constants. Here, as you can assume, everything that we've written like a let, a constant, basically everything that we can write a variable. And as you remember, that variable, a difference between variable and constant, that we can change the value of variable. So if we take the variable Boolean constant 1 and assign to it other value, like true, it was false, but now it becomes true. And let's put a print statement here. We will take the value before changing it, and we will take the value after changing it. And let's execute it. And as you can see that here we reassigned the Boolean constant to true, and it like just brilliant, just Swift programming languages, it give two printable statements. Here's false, and after that the true. So here's print, we got our value of false, then we changed it, and here we have the second print. So thank you for your attention. Please proceed to the next lesson. So let's proceed with data operators for our data types. Operators mean that we can operate with our data and with data that we pass between our parts of the system. That we have already learned that we have basic data types, that's integer, strings, Boolean, and some other types that we will describe in this lesson. We can operate with this data and we can change it in other types or just to manipulate it or something like that. And what I would like to show you in this lesson, basically some other operators that is available for our numbers, for our strings, and for our booleans, because those are data types that we will be working in, and we will use it on some other types in the future. So for you, the key concept right now is that if we have few variables or constants, let's make constants, let number 1 equals to 5, let number 2 equals to 7, you can assume that basic operators for numbers basically it's like plus, minus, multiplying, and dividing. So basically the basic math operators for the numbers. And you would be right, because we can do the thing in our Swift language. Let's make it in other like constant or something like that we pass this number and we will make the sum. Let's make a sum of number 1 plus number 2. And as you can see, Swift here, it does autocomplete, that I can just go through few variables here. And if I start typing the number here, num, as you can see, it gives me a possibility to choose and autocomplete the variable number, variable name for that. So currently it will be sum of number 1 plus number 2. And let's try to execute it. And third part, as you could assume, that we can print it. Let's print our sum here, here, and let's make it. We have 12, and that's exactly right, that we have 5 plus 7 equal 12, and it will be printed to our console as a result. So it's plus operator here, and it operates with two integer number. As you remember, if we have an integer number here, 5 or 7 or some other plain number, basically under the hood it's like an integer number here. Basically it's would be the same here. So if we apply two integer operands, and we're like increasing the value one by second one, then we will have a sum of it, a sum. Let's make another operation. We have let minus operation, or maybe just decrease. As you can see that here I'm like making the names of my constants here, and just like to make constants decrease, that I will put the number 1 minus number 2. And let's print the value here as well. Decrease, decrease. And as you can see, it's totally right. Also, 5 minus 7 would be minus 2. Perfect. We do basic math operations with our Swift language. As you can assume that we can do a lot of things with that. Basically, right now it does like the simplest part, but as you can imagine, that computer can do for you. It can not only like multiplying, applying some sums of numbers, or minusing it, or etc. It can do a lot of that. But basically, right now, we are learning on the basic things. So let's proceed with other numbers. If we make like a multiply, you would be right if you assume that it's called like it's goes like an asterisk here, because we are just multiplying number 1 by number 2. And let's print the multiply value. Here it is also a constant, and here you can print the multiply value. So it would be 35, because 5 times 7 would be 35. Perfect. And let's go to another part, like divide. Let's divide number 1, divide, it will be slash, to number 2. And let's see what Swift gives us as a result. Divide. Oh, it gives us 0. Why would you say? Like we are dividing 5 and dividing it by 7, and this should be something like about maybe 0.7 or something like that, but it gives us 0. What happens here, basically? Because we are given the integer number, and Swift, it assumes that we also want to accomplish like a integer number in the result. So basically, what does it make here? Basically, he counts how many times 5 goes under 7. And if you would like to know the more exact number of like 0 point another part, then you would like to use other data type. And other data type would be double, but not integer. And I will show you. But here I would like to describe it to you like in more possible way. Like if we have like 5 and 7, let's change it to 7. And we will check the last value. Here you can see it changed to 1. Because 7 is only one time in 7. But if we have 14 here, 14 divided by 7, it will go to 2. As you can see, with integer number, it also works well, but there are some like possible downsides if you use the integer number. So it was for integer part. Let's go to double part, and I will call it like double. So basically, if you would like to divide and divide numbers and have more exact value, then we would like to use double data type, and this one looks like this. So it's like double number equals to like 3.0, because as you remember, if you like make only 3, then it will be an integer. But if you point like 3.0 here, basically under the hood, it would be the type of double. As you can see, it gives me that variant. And basically, this one is double value. And if we make like another double value, double number 2, and make it also a double value, and make it also like 5.0, then the dividends, like the divide operation, would work much more perfectly. So let's try it, like divide double, and we will make the first double number divide by second double number, and let's print it like divide double. And I will return like remove all other operation because it gives us not a lot of space in the console. So let's check the double and let's make it. And here you can see it works well. Now it shows us more exact value, that 0.6 is like a result of dividing double number to double number 2. And double number is 3.0 and double number 2 is 5.0. And dividing them, we get a result 0.6. If we have like some other value, let's say that it can be 12 or 12 divided by 13, like something like, it would be a bit more irrational. As you can see, it gives us some kind of certain number of digits after the point, but it's also pretty exact as it could be, because the computer system is also not like an infinite number of possibility of calculating math, but there are a lot of digits after the point, and it's pretty enough just to calculate those numbers. So that's about double. So as you can see that we have already two data types for numbers, for integer and non-integer for double. So if you would like to use that, please be aware. So that's basic operators for numbers. Let's proceed to strings. As we remember that we have strings, basically strings are variables or constants that have a text in it. So let's like make text 1. It would be first text, and let's text 2 equals to second text. Or let's make it like a bit to more programmatic version of it, and let's make it like hello world. Yeah, perfect. And now let's print like the second and first text. Here would be print of text 1, and here would be print of text 2. Let's see. Okay, we have right now two constants which named text 1 and text 2, and they both have some value. First one has a value of hello, and second constant has a value of world. And let's do some other concatenation, but it's called like a sum of text. Let's make a concatenation. And as you assume, we can concatenate the text 1 to text 2. As you can see, and it works well, basically. If we run it, then we will have like one string that have already two values here. It's one value which is concatenated into one. So it's hello world. As you can see, that there is no white space between it. It's just like hello world, like one word or something like that. So let's also print it, concatenation. And we will get the hello world like in signal text. Okay, I would like to delete the first prints, and let's make it like a normal phrase, maybe. Like we would like to add here a white space. What are the variants here? We would like to add maybe white space here. Then we would have normal, like hello world with white space. Or we would like to add white space here. It would work like that also. Or there is a third variant that we can concatenate in our operation. Here, we also know that text 1 and text 2, those are string operands. As you remember, that's like here, it is a type of string. So basically, if you provide the string itself, Swift would understand what would you do. And basically you can just pass a white space here under the quotes and just concatenate it between the text of hello and world. And let's try the result. Here, as you can see, it also perfectly works. Hello world with white space between it. So that's the operator for text. But let's try some other operators for text that we did for our math operations. Let's make like a minus operation. What would Swift say to us? Text 2. Would it build? Would it say something to us? Yeah. As you can see, binary operator minus cannot be applied for two string operands. So basically, Swift says us that it can do that operation. He can't like decrease the value of text1 by value of text2, because it's like impossible operation of strings. It can concatenate it, like to make the single string of few of them, but it can't actually make some minus, dividing, or multiplying, because those are only for numbers. Something like that. And let's proceed to our Boolean values. As you remember, if we make like Boolean 1, it would be true. Let Boolean 2, it would be false. But the reason is that with Boolean it's a bit more complicated, it's more complex, because Boolean is like a bit more programming way data types. Basically, it's not number, it's not like a string, it's not a double number or something like that. It's just basically a statement that something exists or something just doesn't exist. It's like true or false. And with Booleans, we have additional operands. And if you interested more in it, you can search for Boolean algebra or Boolean logic. That basically Boolean is like 1 or 0. That you operate with like 1 or you operate with 0. 1 states that like make a statement that there is something exists, and 0 states that that nothing exists. So basically, that's the point of this Boolean data type. And there are some other operands to do with Booleans. Again, if you're interested, you can watch the data table under this course, or just look for Boolean algebra, but I will give you some basics here. So if you would like to check that something exists in first Boolean and something also exists in second one, and we would like to concatenate that result, that we would say that something exists there and something exists there. So it's like an AND operand. And let's say, like, let's name it like this. And we would say that we would like to make an AND operator with two Booleans. And it gives like two ampersands. So basically this is an operate of Boolean 1 and Boolean 2. Something like that. And let's try to play around with that. Currently, if we have two Booleans that say true and false, then AND operator is basically like a multiplying 1 to 0. It would say that it's 0. So if we are asking that if anything exists there and anything exists there, by logic, by your human logic, you would say that if something doesn't exist in one of two, then the AND operator would say that it's no, it doesn't exist in both of them. It exists in only one variant. And here what we see, if we have true and false, and we make AND operator here with two ampersands, and here's AND, then it gives us a false value. But if we make it like both true here, it will return us a true, because they are both existing. And AND operator gives us that value. And if we make both false, and obviously the result will be false. So yeah, that's the point. Let's return it to false true, and will return us a false. And here's another operator for Booleans. It's OR. It's called OR. and let's type it. It types like two lines here, two straight lines, something like that. And we would like to compare two booleans, boolean 1 and boolean 2. And basically, or operator, it says that like, does it exist there or does it exist there? So it's like a part of Boolean algebra that we are just trying to figure it out if something there or there. And in this situation that we have both false and true, what would it return? Any assumptions? Let's run it. And here you can see it's true. Because basically, OR operator is like a plus, and AND operator is like a multiplying of booleans. And if you like assume the true is 1 and false is 0, then basically if you multiplying 1 to 0, you would get 0. But if you're like summing, making an increasing of value, if you're summing 1 and 0, you would get 1. If you make a 1 plus 0 operation, then you will get 1 in the result. And here, as you can see, that's basically what's going on. That we have one operand of Boolean like 0, false. We have second operand of true, like 1. And basically, here's AND operator that like Boolean 1 multiply and Boolean 2. And we will get false because 0 multiplies to 1 is 0. But OR is like a sum. 1 here, Boolean 1 is false, is 0, and Boolean 2 is true, is 1. So basically it's like 0 plus 1, it would be true, it would be 1. That's basically the operands for Boolean values. And we will get into it with some more concrete, exact feature in future, but currently it works like that. Thank you, and proceed to next lesson. And let's proceed with basic control flow in Swift. We would like to start with the simplest construction, simplest syntaxes for controlling some flow in our execution. As we already get familiar with operands and operators between some values, basically we would like to compare some data between each other and maybe make a decision what we have to do depending on that resulting value or on that resulting type or on that resulting operator or something like that. And here's where control flow comes in. And I would like to show you a small example about that. Control flow, basically in the simplest example, it is like if construction. We would like it like to write it like that. Basically, as you can see, if is a keyword, it's a pinky one. And basically if some part, some here, I will show you, and it gives us a brackets. So basically, this one is like a basic control flow for some comparison. That if something goes, then we will execute it. Because before that, there are no brackets at all. That's a new construction for you, new syntaxes. And here, as you can see, we have like an execution one by one that each line is executed. But if gives us an additional point here that we will execute only the part additionally that is in our if, and if the data and comparison there returns us a true, where booleans come in. Let's try a simple example. We have like some constant number equals to 5, and we would like to check it. Like if number equals to 5, then I would like to print it into the console. And if it's not, then I would like to do nothing, just something like that. And here's a new operator for you for comparison. Basically, you can compare if number equals to 5 here, then I would like to execute this part. Basically this one. And if you put it into other value, like if is is number 5 equals to 5, or like number of our variable equals to 5 or something like that, I would like to execute only this part, you would see that it returns us a true. So basically here is number 5. It is a Boolean variable or Boolean constant in this case that basically looks like this under the hood. That currently we are comparing the number to 5 and it returns us the Boolean value of true that computer says to us and gives us a result type of that basically we are comparing number to some other value. Here in this example is 5 and it returns us a 5 and a bool. But basically if we compare it to 6, here like we have a number equals to 5 and we compare it to 6 with double equals, as you can see, then it will return us false because it doesn't equal to 6 because it's 5. And computer knows it and it compares that number and it gives us a result. And that's the beauty of programming. Basically, you operate with data and you say to computer what you would like to do and computer gives you a result. Computer would not do anything on its purpose unless it's an artificial intelligence and it makes some additional decisions or something like that. But currently, it's like a straightforward code here, and we are just comparing some values and types. And as you can see, we have a number of which equals to 5. Basically, under the hood is type integer. And we have the is number 5 is basically a Boolean value because we are comparing two numbers. And let's make it in our if statement. And basically, this is a control flow. So if we would like to compare number to 5, I would like to print some text that number is 5. And let's try it. Yeah, as you can see, it works well. That currently print is being executed here, and we are just checking that number is 5. But if the number is not 5, but it's, for example, 10, let's try to execute it. You can see there is nothing in console. Basically, this code wasn't executed in this example because number here is 10, it is not 5, and this part returns us false. And basically, if statement sees this result, that basically it's false, and it's going not to execute. That's the point of control flow. You're making some decision, and you're making some other execution based on it. So here, as you can see in this particular example, that you have number that equals to 10, the ninth line, this one lines, wasn't executed because control flow of comparing the number of number that is under the constant and comparing it to 5, it gives us a false. So 9th line didn't execute. That's pretty it. And here, as you could assume, that we can compare a number to equaling them, or also we can compare it to bigger or smaller value. And here, we would like to compare a number if it's greater than 5. Let's try what it gives us. I will remove this part and let's execute it. But here it gives us print number of number is 5, but basically here is number is greater than 5. Execute it again. As you can see that 10 is perfectly works here because 10 is bigger than 5, is greater than 5, and then it goes to executable statement here under the print. But if we make less than 5, then it would not print anything because number is bigger than 5 basically here. And here it won't be executed here, and as you can see it gives us a result, nothing. But maybe we would like to do some other execution apart from that. If we would like to compare it to 5, and if it's greater, then we would like to do some first value, and if it's not greater, then we would like to do some other stuff. And we can do that basically we can write else and do another statement here. So as you can see, there's like a little bit more code here. But basically it gives us a possibility to make a decision and do some other job depends on this decision. So basically here, let's return to 5, and here number is equal or greater than 5. And here basically number is greater than 5. When the number is 10, then it's perfectly fine. It will work here. And this part won't be executed in this part. But let's print also another print statement here and make it like number is less than 5. So let's see. What would it work? Here you can see two print statements, but only one of them would be really executed because we have a if control flow. And basically, let's try to figure it out. Basically, we have a number that equals to 5. And as you can see here, the print statement of number is greater than 5 was executed. And that's correct. But if we change our value to 4 or 3, then we can execute it. And as you can see, it gives us a result that number is less than 5. So we are correct that computer did a calculation for us and gave us a result for it. So basically, this is a control flow, and on this part, a lot of has been built or something like that. Because here we are making a decision based on a comparison of number to some certain other value. Then basically we can like make one execution. If it doesn't go under this statement, like it doesn't make a comparison, or it's greater or it's less, like it goes to another part, then basically it goes to another executable statement. So here, and we can compare numbers, and we also can compare some other values. If we have, let's make some boolean bool equals to true. That's a constant boolean of type boolean which equals to true. We also can put it into if statement. And here we can write that boolean is true, or other value that boolean is false. And let's try. As you can see, it gives us a result that boolean is true, because this boolean is basically is true. If we put it like false and put the false value here, it gives us a result that boolean is false. And that's the basic control flow of making a decision, and you will use it in future in your future applications. So that was a control flow. Thank you for your attention. Please proceed to next lesson. The next topic is functions. Let me describe a bit what is function. As you seen already in previous lessons, that we have some kind of control flow, and we can operate with some kind of parts of chunks of code, and basically we can provide those chunks additionally. Because we have a control flow like if else that you have seen in a previous lesson. Basically it gives us a possibility to compare some values and make a decision and make some execution based on this decision. And functions, basically those are like encapsulated part of code that we can reuse. Previously we are just like writing our code and we just put in all the values at the same place. But if we would like to reuse the values, or we would like to reuse the execution, or we would like to compare the result of that execution or something like that. So here at this point we are coming to functions, and I would like to show you how does it look and how does it work. Function is like a keyword of func. As you can see, it's also pinky one. Pink, like pinkish or something like that. And let's try to name it like first function. For function, it also goes with like func keyword and some function name, then it goes like parentheses and some square brackets. And as you can see here, we created our first function. Here basically it's like a part of code, as you can see also with brackets, basically, that we can put some code here. It will be like a bit to the right from the left side. It will be the executed statement that we can reuse. So let's make a print statement here, like calling from first function. So basically we are making a statement that basically if we call the first function and we are executing from this point, then we will make a print statement that calling from first function. And I will remove the previous value from console and let's run it. We will see what it gives us. As you can see, nothing happens here because we didn't call our function. Basically, this part of code, it's encapsulated into the function and we didn't actually call that just to execute this part, but we can call it the same way, like first function. As you can see, it gives us a possibility to autocomplete because Swift knows that we already created this function and we would like to call it. So I just like call the function the same way. As you can see, it's like almost the same like printing, but print is already predefined function for us by Swift programming language. But here first function is like a function that we created by ourselves. And let's call it here. And as you can see, the print statement works perfectly, calling from first function. So we just made the execution inside of blocks that we can use from other part of the code here. And you can assume that, we can reuse it. Yeah, and I would respond to you that basically we can reuse it. So if I call 3 times the first function like that, what the output of console would be? What would you think? Yeah, correct. It would be 3 same executions because we are calling 3 times the same function. And this function has inside of it print statement that gives us a possibility of printing the calling from first function. And basically this part of code executes 3 times because we are calling this function 3 times. As you can see, calling from first function and it goes 3 times. Perfect. So that's the function and itself. If we make another function, let's make second function. Yep. And let's make the same print that we are calling it from second function. It does almost the same, but the output value will be different because we are calling from second function, and this one will be different. So let's remove those two. Let's call second function, and the output of console would be calling from first function, calling from second function. Because we called first function here, it goes here to execute this part of first function, and then we call the second function, and it executes the second function which consists of calling the second function here of print statement. But it's not only that you could do from doing the function, because printing is not only the part of Swift, because we can do a lot of things with functions. We can do some operations, operands, make some numbers, boolean, or etc. Here you can see that we are making some pretty standard operations here. We just like printing something and we can reuse it, like first function, then we call second function, then we call first function, and then we call second function. And if we execute it, as you can see, we reuse that parts there and there. So it calls firstly first function, then second function, then it calls second time the first function here, as you can see, and it goes here. And as you can see, Swift highlights it for you, but not Swift, but Xcode. Xcode is IDE, it's like a development environment that gives you a possibility of that. And here you can see that Xcode highlights it for you here and here, that you are calling, and you can like look after the same function here. And for second function is the same, that you are just calling the same function from there and from there. And that's basically a key concept about functions. And after this point, you would say that, okay, Ilya, but printing is not only the thing that we can do with functions. We can do a lot of things, and I would agree with you. And I will show you how we can reuse functions to do some more valuable operations, but not only printing of some values, but also to make some operations and reuse those operations. Because previously on the lesson about operands and operators, as you remember, we just did the straightforward things that we just summing, dividing, multiplying some values between numbers, between double values, between strings and booleans. And basically that was just an example of how we could do it. But now we are getting into interesting field about that we could reuse that functionality and this logic with functions. Functions give us a possibility of providing that value and like returning some other value that is like a return value or like a result value of that particular functions. And how does it look like? That basically we have a keyword of function, we have a name of function, and here in parentheses we would like to add some values, and we would like, let's say, like make a operation of summing. Like I would like to make a sum of first number plus second number, and I would like to get a result. It's almost like a math calculator, and we would like to reuse that value so that we can pass different values and get different results, and we can reuse that results. So basically, that's the pretty point of programming, because you can do things that you can reuse, and you can do a lot of different operations here. So let's proceed to our code and let's write our first function. Function, some function. And as you remember, it looks like that as from previous lesson. But here, as you remember, we have like an execution part block of some function, but it was pretty standard and pretty simple that we are just calling it. We are making some print statements here, print some function called, and we would like to execute it. And here we would have the some function called in the console. Pretty straightforward. But if I would like to make this function to make a summing of two values, of two integers, basically. If like I would like to have a function that gives me a value of 3 plus 5 equals 8, like basic math operation, but I would like to reuse it. I would not like just to write 3 plus 5. I would like to pass two values that could be configurable and return the value of it. And that's the pretty point of programming, as I said. So let's create our function and we will name it like sum or something like that, because this function gives us a possibility to return a value. So sum would have two parameters because we have two operands for operation of summing, and it returns us a value. And those all three values, they would be integer. So let's put it like that. So it's number 1 of type integer, and after comma it would be number 2 also as integer. And now, as you can see, we have like a scope of a sum function here between the brackets, and here number 1 and number 2, those are like a local constants that we can use in this function. So let's say we would like to call number 1. As you can see, it gives us a possibility to call it, then number 2 or something like that, and we can use it. So basically let result, as you remember, is like a constant of type of integer if we sum in two integers, and I would like to make an operation of number 1 to number 2. And let's execute it. Nothing happens because actually we didn't call our function. But here I would like to call my function, and here you can see that here are two parameters. So I press enter, and it gives me a possibility to provide those numbers. Like I would like to put the number 1, number 2, and I'm just calling the function, and it makes some execution for me. So let's you would see that it's like a placeholder of Xcode here, and I would like to put 4, and I would like to put, for example, 6. And let's see what it gives us. Yeah, perfect. So what we did, we just called our function of sum. We provided two numbers there. The sum function gets that numbers, and basically it makes a operation that we require from it. And basically right now it's a 10, but function doesn't make anything with this result. It just says that it's like a constant result, that it's make a result of 10, and that's all. But we would like to use that number and use that result. So basically we can do what? We can put the result of that, and we can put the like sum of two numbers is, and here is the magic thing, that you can insert your value, your constant or variable, into strings, inside your string. And you have this kind of construction here with backward slash and parentheses, and you are just putting a result here. So basically it's like a part of code inside your string. And here's a string that would be printed here, and here you just put your result inside the string. So let's execute it. And now, as you can see, our function gives us a result here, that its sum of two numbers is 10. Perfect. Let's make it a bit clearer that we provide two numbers. Basically, it's like sum of number 1, and we provide number 2. Basically, as you can see, I just reuse the variable here. It's like a local variable in function, and I remove here, and basically I will just print the result of it, like sum of number 1 and number 2 is result. So let's execute it. Perfect. As you can see, the function does some valuable operation for us. We are just making a sum of number 4 and number 6, and it gives us a result of 4 and 6 is 10. Basically it is. And here the sweet also point of programming, that we can reuse it and put there some other values like 45 and 23. Let's execute it. Perfect. And as you can see, we just reused the operation here. So function, basically, it gives us a possibility to reuse some part of code that gives us some kind of value or gives us some kind of result. In this exact example, we have like a summing of two operands, basically, and we have like integer number plus integer number, and gives us some kind of result. And here, as you can see, we reused it 2 times, and gives us two results. Basically 4 plus 6 is 10, and 45 and 23 is 68. And basically we can do that as many times as we wish, like here, like here, like here. And I just put that I just called it 8 times or something like that, and here it gives me a result of that. That's an interesting point. And what would we say that we don't want to print the result, but we would like to reuse that result? Because currently, right now, it just like takes an input of 2 numbers, but it doesn't give us any result of it. It just makes a print and that's all. But what if I would like to reuse that number? That basically I would like to make an operation of summing of them, and then I would like to reuse it. Okay, for that there is other part of the function. Basically you write some kind of arrow and also write an integer. So this syntaxis and this construction gives us a possibility to return some value from function. And here, as you can see, Swift gives us a value, like gives us a error about that this function should return integer, because missing return in global function expected to return integer. And we are not returning it right now, but let's do it. We can make a return statement, and I would like to return the result. And here is clear what our sum function does. Basically, we have a function that names sum. It inputs two numbers with type integers, like number 1 and number 2, and it also returns integer. And inside of it, it makes additional local constant of number 1 plus number 2. It's like a result of the operation, and it returns it. And let's call it. Let's see what it gives us. Because the function returns some value, we can also assign this value to other variable or constant to our box, as you remember. So let's make a result of function equals to sum of 3 and 5, for example. So here, as you can see, our function is called with two parameters of 3 and 5. And the result of this function, I would like to put into the constant named result of function. And let's print the result of function as a print statement. I would like to execute it. And here, as you can see, I didn't make the plus operation by myself, like in this example. I just made a function that makes it for me, returns the value of result, and I'm just using the result from my side, as you can see. And this is the prettiness of programming, that basically you can do whatever you want with whatever functions. What would you do? And you would have some challenges after that lesson. That's the example of summing. But let's make another function of minus. And let's also put there two parameters of integer, and number 2 is also integer, and it returns us an integer. So it's like a person or human that is making a function of calculator or something like that. If I have a friend who knows basic operators, and I would call him and say, hey, what is the sum result of 3 and 5? And he gives us a result of it. Like he tells us that basically it's 8. And I, as a person who asks him, basically I do the same here, but with programming. So I just made a friend who gives me a result of summing of two numbers, of two integers. And I can do the same thing with minusing them. So basically I can make result equals to number 1 minus number 2, and I would like to return result. Perfect. And here's result of function. We have two functions. If we just execute two functions, that nothing would do, because we are not calling them. But if I call like let minus result equals to return of function minus number 1, number 2, and let's, for example, make like 10, and number 2 is 4. And minus result is some result. Let's print it, minus result. And as you can see, it gives us 6. So basically it prints us a minus result, a constant, which was given the value of return value of function, which called minus here. As you can see, it highlights here. So basically we provide two numbers, 10 and 4, to this function, and this function make the minus operation for us between these two numbers. And as you understand, we can do all the operations for math, like multiply num1 integer, num2 integer. and it will return us an integer also. And I would like to make result equals to number num1 multiply to num2 and return result. Perfect. And let's call that function multiply num1 num2. I would like to multiply 4 by 7, and let's call it, and it gives us 28, but I didn't print it. Let's make print let result of multiply equals, and I would like to provide it to print, and I would like to print it here, as you can see. So we have a function that makes a multiplication of two numbers. We are providing two numbers of 2 and 7, and it gives us a result of 28. And then we reuse that result as a constant to print statement. Is it this? And we can do anything with any data type, but it's like a bit more about logic and a bit more about your knowledge of data types and what you can do with data types, but you can experiment with that. And as you can see, I called functions differently, like sum, minus, multiply. I called the parameters here differently, like number1, number2, in this here and here, but here I called it differently. Currently it's like num1 and num2, and you can make an asterisk of like multiplying it, and basically you get the result. And that's functions with parameters. So, and let's make some other functions that give us maybe a concatenation of two strings. And we can do that, like concat of two strings, and string 1, it would be a type of string, string 2, it would be a type of string, and it would return us a string also. So, perfect. And here I would like to make a result, string 1 plus string 2, and I would like to return this value result. Perfect. And let's call that function concat here. And as you can see, here's a placeholder for the string, basically. And here I can't provide the value of 2 or provide the value of 3, because Swift will give me an error that basically I can convert value of integer to expected argument type string. We have two argument types of string here and here, and I'm trying to provide completely different value. It's how it works. But if I provide like the string itself here with text, as you can see, with quotes, and I would like to provide 45, and I would like to write, or let's make like hello, and let's like world. Here I will see that basically it gives a concatenation for me itself. And if I would like to print it also, and I would like to make it in some constant, concatenation result equals to result of this function, and here we can put the print of concatenation result. And we would like to implement it, and I would like to print it, and it gives me hello world. So that was functions with parameters. So welcome to the second module of iOS development course. Basically, in this module, we'll cover UI part and basically how to create beautiful UIs, but from the starting point, basically from zero knowledge, how to make views, how to make the layout of the UI, how would you observe that, and how your users, future users, will observe that UI on their devices. I would like to start to introduce you the Xcode, but the project side, because before that we introduced the playground and we played a bit with playground, and that really it calls like the name of it is really a playground, because we are just playing with a code, with some functions, with etc. that we used to play around in previous lessons. But now I would like to introduce you the Xcode in its full power, and we will try to make the basic project itself from start. And here I would like to switch to Xcode here. I have opened it on the starting page and here, and I would like to open new project, and we will create a new project from scratch. As you can see here is like a history of project. Basically it's like my playground that we created at start of previous module, but now we are creating the brand new project. So let's create it. We would like to create iOS application. As you can see, here are a lot of options to actually create for different platforms, for different types of devices, etc. There are a lot of other parts of possible applications that you can create, but basically right now we will just create the application for iOS, and that's all. And we can like name it module UI, something like that. You don't need any other options here. Basically you just write your like opposite domain name or something like that, because it's like com dot, for me it's like Ilya Postolenko, but from your side it's gonna be created already. Add account, you don't need it right now because you're not developing for App Store right now, and you would like to create it with SwiftUI. Language with Swift. Storage, we don't need a storage right now, and we don't need any tests right now, so just plain module UI project. And let's create it. Let's create it wherever you need it. And right now, here's our Xcode project. So, and I would like to introduce to you like the real live project. From my side, basically, there are like only few files here inside, but I will tour you in the project itself to show you what is going on here. And basically, as you can see, from scratch, it makes some build model UI, and here some kind of part of activity status of Xcode itself, that it gives you a status, what is he doing right now. It does. So yeah, and it's building module UI ready, and let's see what it gives us here. Hooray! As you can see, it's like a first preview based on iPhone 15 Pro, and basically this is already predefined UI that was already created and written in the base project, and here basically it gives us like a small icon here with small text, and basically that's all for this some kind of preview. And here you can see the part, and we will describe it a bit later. Right now I would like to show you the Xcode itself, what you can find here. Basically here you can find like the left bar where you can see the project navigation, and basically currently we are staying at content view, and this is like a view, a part of a UI, and here's like module UI app. As you can see, it's like the entrance point into the app, because our app is working in some kind of sandbox inside the iOS system, and when it was installed by a user in App Store, basically it installs into its kind of sandbox, and it works for itself, and it can communicate with outer world and outer iOS system with some certain APIs, but we will cover it a bit later. Currently, we just have to keep in mind that basically we are doing our own thing within the iOS system. Here's like our application is like starting point. Here we reuse our content view, and here's a content view. And you are already familiar with brackets here, that basically brackets, they define some kind of scope and some kind of scope of execution. And basically from here you also can see that it's like a text editor from first line to 25th, but it will not run all the lines from first one to next one, because currently we are just using the reusable components, and I will show you what we have to do with that a bit later. So here you can see our project navigator. Here we can see like the main navigate text editors that we are working on. At the right point here is like content view and like preview view, and we can change the sizes if you need like a bit more size of a text editor to fit more text and more code, or you need like keep an eye on some preview or something like that and just take a look what is going on here. You can navigate in Xcode and just make things a bit familiar for you, a bit more comfortable, and basically you can hide the left side by this button and like show this again by touching this, like show the navigator. As you can see, here is a special icon for it. On the show in the project navigator here, like few tabs here, as you can see, we are basically on the first one, and here's like some git control, here some bookmarks, here some search inside the project, here are some warnings, some tests, etc. There are some debug session, some breakpoints, and some local build info or something like that. But basically you really don't need that. You need only the first one with project navigator, because you will be navigating through the app itself, and then we will cover other parts, etc. in next modules or something like that. So yeah, on the right side here are some additional inspectors for the code, for UI, etc. And you will need it a bit later also. And here at the bottom side, you will see like two parts here. And basically this one is also a console. That's the same one console that was in Playground, that you can print some text, you can print some execution here and just to work on that and try to check it. So basically here we can try to make an application and body, and here you can see that there are a lot of brackets and here a lot of execution points, so something like that. So basically the Xcode project looks like that. It has a preview right now, and if you would like to run your application on the real device, but real device in iOS in iOS part, in iOS ecosystem or something like that, you can build it into the simulator. And here you can see that like your project is module UI. Here it's only the only project that you can build here, and you can show and you can see that there are a lot of other simulators. There are some iPads, there are different sizes of iPhones, and currently selected the iPhone 15 Pro, and I would like to leave it here to remain it. And if I would like to run a simulator but not a preview, then I would like to run it actually. This button is start the active scheme. Active scheme is currently the only one module UI, and I would like to build it to iPhone 15 Pro. So let's see what it shows us. As you can see on the very top, it gives us some status, installing, and here's our simulator. It was opened, and let's see. Yay, it works. As you can see, it's like a real iPhone 15 Pro, but not like real device, but just a simulator of iPhone 15 Pro with iOS 17 there on board. So basically, this is a simulator, like to simulate the real application and real device, but on your computer. If you don't have a possibility, or you don't have an iPhone to build your real application or something like that, you can use only the simulator. And simulator will run the full exact version of your application, how it will look like on other devices and other phones. But preview, you would like to say what is the difference between the simulator and preview? Simulator is it runs the entire application from zero to all configurations and all screens, etc. And we will go into that part. But preview basically is like a preview of exact screen or exact view. And in our side, basically we have only one view, and now it's the same. But basically, if we would have few of them, like the first one, the second one, we have some kind of navigation, then on simulator we could run like all the application and all the screen and all the navigation. But for preview, we would like to run only the preview for this exact preview part. And as you can see here, it looks like that. That it's like a preview and we are creating the content. It also creates almost like functions, but not functions, because it's like a reusable component and its struct, as you can see here. And we will get into it a bit later. Now we will get into a bit smaller and lighter things. So that's basically the Xcode tour. Please proceed to the next lesson. In this lesson, let's dive into the SwiftUI. SwiftUI basically is like user interface framework from Apple to write UI in a declarative way. You are just saying what you have to do, just saying to the computer, to the Xcode, what you would like to draw on your user interface or on your screen or on your view. That is a turning point and the entering point of communicating of your users to our system, because currently as iOS developers we like create the system that will be running on other users devices, and basically other users will use your application and your data processing and your like logic, everything you will write with you with your application, and it will be used by other person. So from our side, from our perspective, we have to build that system that would run perfectly for other users, and they will solve their problems or they solve their desires or needs with your application. So let's start with the UI itself. Here, as you can see, it's like a structure that named content view currently, and this is like the first starting point here, and this is like a type of view, as you can see, the same way that we typed our variables and constants of double, integer, etc. Here it is like a view, and this is part of SwiftUI framework here. As you can see, it's being imported here, and it's being a view, and here's a body, and body basically is like a basic part, basic like side of the user interface itself. And here, as you can see, there's like some kind of with text, some kind of brackets, some here, image, text, padding, a lot of stuff that we don't need right now. So as you can see here, I removed everything, and it will say to me that there's nothing that we would like to provide. And from my side, I would like to introduce to you the basic thing like a color. Because if you build some user interface or something like this, you can test and you can just try it with colors just to see visually how your UI is being built. And right now, let's make the color red. Basically, this is how you provide the coloring. And in SwiftUI, basically, you're just saying that you would like to make a color of red, and this will make a view. And as you can see here, with this coloring, basically, you are just taking the whole area that is available for you right now. So if you're just providing the color red, basically, you will cover this part of your screen, this part of your application. And you would like to ask what are the white lines here on the sides. Basically, this part called safe area, because we have different sizes of phones, we have different like types of phones, because the newer ones, they have this kind of dynamic island, but the previous ones, they had like a notch, the first notch, the second version of notch or something like that. And basically this one is a safe area, just to be safe basically, and not make anything that is interrupted with other UI components of iOS itself. Because as you remember, on newer iPhones here, on the bottom here is like a home indicator, and on the top here there's like a time, the network provider, and like your network connection, etc. So we don't need and don't want to put some important user inputs or buttons or something like that under those parts, because basically it won't work. But for UI perspective, just for visualizing things, you can see that red is going for this side, and basically you can just go over it, and you can just say that it ignores safe area, and then it will go all over the full screen, as you can see, because we are just getting ignored the safe area. So that's the basic key concept that we are just declaring in body, in content view that we want to show on our screen. So, and let's start from the first key concept of view and how it's being built. I will return to previous part of just being read. And here I would like to introduce to you two new structures. Basically, it's VStack and HStack. Those are stacks that contain different views. Basically, those are stacks because VStack is vertical stack and HStack is horizontal stack. And basically, we as iOS developers and UI developers, etc., we just develop our UI in such blocks that are basically we decompose the UI to different blocks, different types of that, and basically we just see what is should be like in new application or something like that, where the text is located, whereas like some other UI components or something like that, and we are thinking about that. How can we decompose it to different parts and different stacks of it? And the basic part of it is basically to use it. So let's try to write HStack. And as you can see here, also some brackets basically, and it is like an execution part. And let's make an horizontal stack of two colors, like let it be color red and color blue. Yep. And perfect. As you can see, it divided the screen for us, and now we are operating with two sides of it. So basically it's horizontal stack because it goes horizontally, and horizontal parts are going from left to right. And basically, as you can see here, that the red one is like a first one, and in horizontal stack is gonna be the left one, and then blue one is going to be the right one. And basically, as you can see here, we are just totally fine that we are just separated our UI here to two parts. But if I would like to split it in other way, I would like to say that it's gonna be a vertical stack. And here, as you can see, the same logic applies. That basically vertical stack, it divides the screen in two parts, and the first one is red, is gonna be the top one, and the blue one is gonna be the bottom one. And you could assume that Ilya, may I divide the top part to two parts and bottom part to two parts, maybe also horizontal or something like that? And I would answer you that, yeah, totally, you totally can do that. Because inside VStack, you can write another HStack here, and it can be red and let's say yellow. Yep. And now, as you can see, there are three parts. The top one, which is going to be the HStack here, and it contains two sides, like two colors here, is red and yellow. Then the second part, horizontal one in vertical stack, it's like a red one, and then it's blue one. Let's change this one to green, maybe. And now, as you can see, you're building your UI part by part, and the color structure basically is already created by Apple and created by Apple engineers there, and they're like created a declarative way for us to declare what we want to do here in our UI or something like that. So here's like a key concept of VStack and HStack. Basically, those are vertical stack and horizontal stacks. And basically by that, we can divide our screen to different parts or something like that. And now, if I would like to make it a bit more fancier, I would like to make maybe a bit more padding from here, some margin, or maybe to make the corner radius, because now it looks like a bit from 2005 or something like that. So let's go and straight into that. So from my side, I would like to make like a color or colors or just overall. Yeah, basically. Let's start with VStack, and I would like to make padding. So let's go with padding itself. Yeah, as you can see here, after just adding the padding gives you a possibility to make like some additional space between the end of the view and your like content inside the view. And currently the padding default one is like about 20 points or something like that, but the custom padding, you can make everything that you want. basically let's write here like 23. It will give us a bit more, as you can see. Or I would like to make padding 40. Yeah, or I would like to make padding like 8. And this, as you can see, it gives like smaller padding or bigger padding or something like that. The same way we can make the spacing between the blocks in stacks. Basically, we have the vertical stack. It's like the first part of stack, the second part of stack, and third part of stack. And I would like to make a spacing here of 16. And I would like to increase that value. As you can see, yeah, it's increased here. So if I put here 8, then it gives me 8. If I make it to 24, then it makes like big spacing between those blocks in vertical stack. And as you understand that we can make the same thing in horizontal stack with this one. So I can put the space here, and here is a horizontal stack, and here I can also make spacing of 16. As you can see, it increased my spacing between the horizontal stack parts or something like that. So basically like here. And here, like basic key concepts about V-stacks, horizontal stacks, spacing, and padding. Right now, also, I would like to make a corner radius, and let's make a corner radius of 8. So what it would do. And it did nothing. Okay, let's make a corner radius of our blue block. Yeah, as you can see, it made like a corners here in a blue block. Let's make it bigger, 16. Yeah, right now it become a bit more fancier, as you can see. Let's make the same thing with green. So we are just declaring that green block and blue block are going to be with corner radius 16 here. And also with our red and yellow. Hooray! As you can see, now it looks a bit like a modern UI right now. Probably. Yeah, really. So basically you can do whatever you want with that. And basically you are just giving the overall structure of your UI inside the Xcode itself. And here on the preview, you also can like view on the time that you are making your changes, you can view your view in future. And now, right now, it's also our application contains only from one view, but if you stop the current execution, the previous one, and run it again, you will see that your UI also applies to here. It doesn't react to any changes, to any tabs here, because you can try to touch here. Currently it's pretty static, but in future we will make it with some additional points. So okay, and the last thing that I would like to show you here is not vertical stack or horizontal stack, but basically the Z stack. And Z stack, it is like almost like a horizontal or vertical stack, but because it's Z, basically it's goes applies by Z axis or something like that. It's like closer or farther from us, from our eyes. And basically vertical and H stack, basically they are going in 2D dimensions. Z stack gives us a possibility of 3D dimensions. So let's try and comment or remove all the previous UI. I would like to add this Z stack, and I would like to add color dot black. Let's make like this. So let's see. Let's reuse our preview. And here, as you can see, it gives us just black, as it was before this text. The same way it goes like this. I would like also to use it like ignores safe area here for the whole entire Z stack. As you can see, yeah, it became total black here. And after that, I would like to add some color on top of it. So you will see that currently I would like to make the red one that which has some additional padding and which doesn't ignore safe area. So it will look like that. So basically you are making the preview, you're making the black like background color or something like that, and we are making red overview over that part with some padding. And padding I would like to make on different size different, and I will show you how to do that. Basically, on horizontal axis, I would like my padding to be 16. On top of that, I would like it to be 60, and on bottom, I would like it to be 40. Let's see. Okay, it's a bit closer. And now I would like to make a corner radius of 16. So let's see, maybe I would like to put it somewhere here. Yep, perfect. As you can see, in declarative way, basically you're applying some additional operands to the view itself one by one. And from my side, basically, I have started from corner radius. So I'm making the like color tile as a corner radius 16, and then I'm giving him some kind of paddings here on a horizontal axis on left and right, on the top here, just that we are not getting under the notch or dynamic island, and on the bottom here also the 41 here. So let's try to change it to white or some other color, yeah, or maybe green. And now, as you can see here, some kind of overlay that in this tag, basically we can overlay the bottom color, then the top color, and then some other color, and etc. And basically the UI is being built like this. You're just building the blocks one on another. And basically you also can combine it with some other H tag or something like that, and make there some additional colors like blue, or maybe color brown. And this one I would like to have padding like the same of that, but a bit maybe more. Corner radius 16. I would like to make it horizontal like 30. From top it would be 112, 20, and from bottom let it be like 60. Yeah, and as you can see, the declarative way that we are saying to our UI that basically that's Z stack, that it goes from bottom to top, and it goes with green light here on the top light, on the bottom light, then it's gonna be a red tile here, and then after that on top of it we have a horizontal stack which has two colors, blue and brown, here and here. And as you can see, we have like, we can add here some spacing and we can make it a bit bigger like that. Yeah, perfect. And now we have some kind of prototype of some future UI. Basically, SwiftUI is go and looks like that, and you can build whatever you want. And in next module, we will learn about SwiftUI and how to build a real app on that, and just to show some data to users and to make some real life user interface and application just to try itself for practice. So thank you so much and good luck with your UI applications. Hello and welcome to the real world application development module. In this module, we will build the smallest piece of code and smallest piece of application development that will look like real application from the real life and from real applications from App Store. And we will build it from scratch just for you to take a look how does it work and how we built actually some things. And the example app for us will be the application of weather on iOS. Basically, it's the default one. Here you can see the location, application. Here you can see the degrees temperature, and you can see some forecast for future days or something, etc. And basically from our side, we will build this application from scratch, and we will see how does it work and how does it look like to write this application from code. It would have some kind much simpler way, some simpler view how does it look like, but it will show you the key concept of how you would build real life applications, how you would structure your data, how would you structure your views, how would you make this UI with some background of weather and some foreground data itself, how does it been shown here, and how it's structured here. And basically that's the first step into real application development. So few things that you have to know. Basically, we will start to do it with Swift programming language and SwiftUI as a UI framework. Basically, what you have to know is that in this module and in this video, you would not learn a lot of things. You would not see like how everything works in SwiftUI, because it's a big framework. There are a lot of things done. But from this point, you would learn how to do basic things and how to start development with SwiftUI and Swift. Because from this module, after this module, you would have an ability to actually build something from your side. You would like to build some other app, maybe some other example, and you would like to decompose it and do whatever you would like the same way that we would do in this video and in this module. And today we will build this weather app, and we will talk about SwiftUI, about SwiftUI views hierarchy, previews, the Xcode project. Will create one with you, and basically that's the start of this module. So please proceed to the next lesson to start writing code. So, and let's remember how to create the new project and how to basically create first view to start building it into the real world app. And I will open my Xcode here. The same way as you did it last time, we will create a new project here. And I would like to create application next, and I will call it weather app. Yeah, we would like to choose SwiftUI here. Language Swift, storage none, and don't include any tests. So I click next, then I just create it here in my folder of programming. And I would like to make more of real estate of code here and move my preview here to the right. And here you can see the basic application, how does it look like. And here is a content view, as you remember from last lessons. Here is the body, and it has some kind of type of view. There are some additional keywords, but don't get into it because it's a bit more complicated things, but you don't have to know that right now. And here, as you remember, there are some vstack, there is an image with some system name, there is a text, and here is a padding of it, just to have it here with some padding. Here on the preview, you would like to click the second button here with cursor. And after that, you will see that it highlights the components that you highlight in code. And here you can see that what you highlight in code, it would highlight the representation on UI here on the preview. Here I would like to go to my vstack, and basically it highlights my vstack. If I go to the text here, it would go to the text and it highlights the text itself. This is the basic view of view, some kind of in a content view in our first ever vstack and our real life application. So as you remember some few key concepts, I would like to dive into our application and decomposition of our application. And first task that we have with real life and real world application basically is decomposition. In real world, when you are working as an iOS developer, basically you would receive some kind of technical requirements or UI requirements. How would you like to build the application? You would have some kind of UI UX designer, you would have some kind of manager or product manager who would say to you what you have to accomplish in your application. And here, basically, let's consider our application of weather on iPhone here. Let's consider it as our requirement, what we have to do. Just to build the UI itself without any data proceeding, or etc. We would like to decompose what it looks like and what we have to do with our key components in SwiftUI. So as you remember from key and basic components, we have Z stack. Basically, it's a stack of different views that are stacked like in front of us, like the view above and view below, and it's like looks like from us closer and further. And we would like to have some other views like V stack and H stack. Basically, those are stacks that combine views in vertically or horizontally. And here we have to decompose how does it look like right now and which component it consists of. So basically, let's see. We have some kind of background here, bottom of the screen. Basically, it have some cloudy here, some gray color, and it says that it's 11 degrees in London right now. It's a rainy, cloudy weather there. And from our side, we would like to see that on the back of the screen, there is some background. And on top of that, we have those data that like it says that it's London, it's 11 degrees, it says that it's some kind of cloudy, here's some forecast for future days or something like that. And we would like to take those key concepts here. We don't have a strict requirement right now just to write everything in in 100% pixel perfect. How does it look here in the real weather application? We will do such similar thing, but just to show you the key concept, how it works in real life. And here, just to decomposition, we would like to see that basically we have a background here, as I discussed earlier, and here we have some kind of parts of data. So we have like a top block of this with London and 11 degrees. Then we have some kind of middle block with forecast or something like that. And we have the bottom block of temperature for each day. And actually it's also scrolls here. So you can scroll and look a little bit down to another part of data, but we will not dive into it right now because it's more complicated thing, just for a few key concepts at the start. So we would like to start just with the simplest UI that would show us the weather and some kind of the simplest forecast for 5 days at front. And at the end of that, I would like to add some kind of interaction here just to change the weather or change the daytime or change the temperature just by tapping the button. That would be the first user interaction for you, just to see the key concept. How does it work like if we receive some kind of user input into our application here. So that's the decomposition, and let's start building it. So, and let's dive into our project here. As you remember, with our decomposition, basically we have to create the background of our weather app and then put on top the data of it. Here, as you can see, we have a content view and we have a body. Our body is like a basic view that we have for this container. So basically, it's like a container of this view that have the real estate of our iPhone screen size or something like that. And here, as a screen itself, we would like to create our first UI application. Here you can see that we have a content view. It's like a basic structure here with a type of view, as you remember. And here we have a body that also have some kind of scope, which has some kind of scope of braces here, and it has a starting brace and ending brace. So basically, if we remove this part, this like a first ever UI here, it will yell at us a bit that we didn't give and provide him some kind of basic code or something like that. And I would like to start with Z stack. as you remember, that it creates the stack like below and on top of views, so that we can stack the views on top of each other and just to show the code itself. So basically, we would like to start with Z stack, and as you remember, if I add my parts here, it would show the same way as it did before. We have a V stack of image of globe here, and we have a text of hello world, and basically it has some kind of padding here. So here on a simulator, you would see the globe image here. It's like a default system name, and basically it's like a text that says house hello world. So if we would like to have it in a different way, we would like to experiment a bit, just to remember in your mind about the stacks, that we have different stacks here. So basically, let's start with VStack that you have already seen. It's stacks some different views in vertical way. So here, as you can see, we have a VStack, and it has two components like image and text. And here on UI, it's makes its appearance in a vertical way. So first we have our system image of globe, and then we have hello world. So it goes one after another, and on UI it also goes one after another. If we change the VStack to HStack, to basically the horizontal stack, then it will make our stack horizontally, and both the same components will align horizontally. So here you can see the image, and here you can see the text itself, and basically, as you can see, it highlights here on a simulator here on a preview, and basically it gives us a possibility to make like alignment of vertical or horizontal. And after that, if you would like to change it to Z stack, it would scramble everything into one place here, because it's a Z stack, because it's like a Z axis, and it goes like closer to us or further from us. And that's the same concept, that basically the first one goes the image, then second one goes text. So text would be on top of the image here in this particular example. Okay, and that's like some examples with that basic code. But as you remember from our decomposition, we have to create the kind of background of our weather app, and then to put on top our data. So let's create the color itself, and let's maybe start building it with basic concepts. So let's put into our Z stack a color of blue. And here, as you can see, it creates our blue, and as you can see that it takes some kind of safe area here, because on iPhone, as you remember, there are some additional UI components that are provided by iOS itself. It's not the part of applications. There are some time here, there is some network level or something like that. On the bottom here is like a home indicator or something like that. Before that, on iPhone 8 or something like that, we had the home button, but from iPhone 10 and plus, you would have the home indicator. So if you would not like to interrupt with those components with iOS, and just to not make any conflicts, basically you would like to place all your like user input components in this area, but for background we would like to have it like for the full view, because currently it looks a bit chunky or something like that. And I would like to put the color blue, basically it's my color, to full screen. And basically what we have to do, we have to write let's make it with dot. It would be dot, and as you can see with dot you can see all the properties and functions that appears to this particular view, because in SwiftUI everything that you remember, it is a view, and color itself it's also a view. So here we can make the view modifier, so we will modify the color itself. And in SwiftUI, how does it work? Like actually that basically you are wrapping the view itself to another container with some modifying. So basically here we have a color blue, and we would like to modify it to have edge ignoring safe area. I will put enter and then dot, and just dot L, because it's all edges. And here you can see it gives us a possibility to cover the entire screen with background, even with safe area. So now it works, and it looks like a little bit closer to a real app that covers all the screen up. But in our case, as you remember, that we have like color on the background, some kind of color, and we would like to add some key component. And here, let's start just with a text that shows us a location. Here you remember that we can just write text here, and you have a lot of variants here. I just put enter here and just start with parentheses, and here you can see different functions and different initializers for text itself. So you would like to have the different text type. From my side, I would like just to put text and put the string type, as you remember, and string is just some kind of text here. And here, as you can see, our this tag works as intended, and it works as we would like it work to do. So basically we have on the bottom the color blue that basically covers entire screen, and then we have a text that currently is some kind of random text, but basically it shows us on top of the blue background. So that's basically the start of developing of our applications, that we are just covering our parts one to another. Put here some more precise location. Here would like to make it London, and as you can see, London here is basically a small text. I would like to make it a bit more, a bit bigger. And here I would like to go with enter and write dot. And here you can choose any view modifier that goes with text. So it can be bold, font. I would like to put some font here. I would like to put some padding there. But currently I would like to start with font. And font, I would like to make it system with dot. So you just put here system one, and here you have like a size. As you remember, we have different types of numbers, and here you can see some CG float. What does it work? What does it mean? And what does it mean like? But basically just key concepts that you have to keep in your mind. Basically it's also a number. It's just a special number for UI and special number for core graphics. Basically this few letters at the start, it says some kind of framework that it's used here. And in iOS and SwiftUI, basically you have the basic framework that works with rendering mode. It's core graphics, and here, as you can see, you would like to put some numbers there. But from our side, I would like just to start with size of 32, and as you can see, it got a little bit bigger. So currently London is a size of 32, and it goes here at the center. But I also would like to make it white. So I would like to put enter, to put here a dot, and I would like to put a foreground color. Here, as you can see, foreground color, and I would like to make it white. Hooray! As you can see, now it's London, and now it's London on a blue background. So, and after that, I also would like just to show you the key concept of backgrounding and like a framing, because here you can see that we have like a basic component of text, and here we can have some kind of view modifiers. So it says that the text London would have the font of system of size of 32. We would like to see that here's a foreground color that has a modifier of white. So basically we are cover the London itself as white. And just show you for example, we can have some kind of background here. And as a background, I would like to also have some kind of color, which has some kind of red light. So as you can see here, we have few modifiers that gives us this view as a London that has white color, that has some kind of font size of 32 as a system, and we can have a background of color red. And also the additional modifier that is pretty useful for us basically is frame. And here, as you can see, here's a frame that gives us parameters of width, height, and alignment. Just don't cover your mind with all the names, but basically just do the same way. And here you can see that it gives us a possibility of giving him a width like 100, and here, as you can see, we gave him 100 of width, and basically it crumbles the London into two lines. So it's a little bit small that we expected. It can be maybe 120 or 150 or maybe more, like 100 250. And I would like to go with height of 250 also. And here, as you remember, if we put our view modifier after the color, so basically this view would have the frame of 250 to 250, but basically it's not covered with background itself on this frame, because as you remember, frame modifier is a modifier on top of the view. So basically the container that contains the text container, basically with background of red and foreground white, it would be consisting of the part of this container. So basically, if we change the background and frame here, you would see that basically it's changed. So basically we have our frame that covers the 250 to 250 of points basically. And here we would like to add the background of color of red. And here, as you can see, that this background color goes to the frame itself. So here it can be like 100. Here you can see it can be a height of 100 also, and it would be covered with background red. So it's just an example of key concept. And let's go with our gradient and color itself. Now currently it's only a color. I would like to have a smooth gradient just to show you how does it look like. And I would like to make it like a gradient, linear gradient here, and here, as you can see, it goes with some gradient here. Let's put enter here also, and here are some colors inside here, and it would go with leading and trailing. But currently, as you can see, it doesn't show up on our preview here, because as you remember, we have a Z stack, and Z stack goes with a few views that goes like from bottom to the top. And here, as you can see, we have like another color blue that we created recently, and currently it covers entire screen here itself. So basically we just don't see our linear gradient. Let's copy the edge ignoring safe area, because we would like to use it also to our linear gradient, and I would like to remove the color itself here. So, and as you can see that we have two views in our Z stacks, that one is a linear gradient and second one is London. In London, I would like to remove the background and frame here just to be sure. And as you can see here, we have like our linear gradient with two colors of red and blue here, and it starts at leading and it ends at trailing. Leading and trailing, basically those are like a start point and end point of view, and from left to right basically it's leading and trailing, and from top to bottom it's basically top and bottom. So I would like to change it to blue and white, and we would have something similar to real weather or something like that. And as you can see, it takes a little bit more than one line. So here Xcode shows us that it takes only one line as a 15th line, but basically we see that in two lines. So I would like to put some spaces here, and I just go with return on start point, and I would go with return on endpoint. So here I changed it to blue and white, and I would like to go with top leading. As you can see, you have some kind of variants here, options with dot. So I just write dot, and here you can see bottom, bottom leading, bottom trailing, center leading, top, top leading, top trailing, and here I would like to go with top leading. Perfect. And to endpoint, I would like to go with bottom trailing. Hooray! And as you can see, it looks a bit like a weather app of daylight, of real colors of real day, when we have sunny day, and it shows us like blue and white background as our sky. This looks like the basic key component of stacking of our views. So we have created our linear gradient, and we have created our first text here as a London that says us our location. So that's the first part. Please proceed to next lesson. So, and let's proceed with our application a bit further. Here in previous lesson, we have created the z-stack of linear gradient and our text color, and our text with London says us some kind of location. And here, I would like to show you that we would like to nest few stacks inside of each other. As you remember, in our application, we have some kind of background here, and we have few data stacks here, basically, as we decompose it to few key components here. So basically, we have created already the background here as a Z stack, as you remember, and on top of it, it goes with some kind of vertical stack of those data types. So basically, I would like to decompose it to few stacks, and as you remember with SwiftUI, we can nest stacks with one to another. So let's create this top one, and then let's create the bottom one. And as you remember in our application, basically, we have the linear gradient as a background, and after that we would like to have a v-stack of our data. So I create in the v-stack with curly braces here, and I would like to put the text here into our v-stack. And after that, as you remember, we have some kind of location part, we have temperature text, and we also would like to have some kind of image that says us that it's some kind of weather today. So for this purpose, I would like to put into our v-stack the image itself. So let's put an image. And here you can see there are a few different variations of images here. You can have a UI image, you can have some kind of resource. For us, just at the start, we would like to use a system name. And here you would like to provide some system name. I would show you the basic one, and then I will show you where you can find other system images. So here you can show the cloud.sun.fill, and here you can see it appeared the small image of cloudy sunny day here, but we would like to have it maybe a bit more colorful and maybe a bit more bigger on this appearance. So I would like to go with a few view modifiers to appear it as we would like. So first one, I would like to go with this rendering mode of original, because original image, it would have some kind of colors here. So you can see it's like a white cloud and yellow sunny here, but it's still a little bit small. So I would like to go with resizable, because I would like to resize this image. And here, as you can see, it stretches the image itself to the all possible area of v-stack here. And as v-stack goes inside the z-stack, basically it goes everywhere that it can. So I would like to put the aspect ratio of fit, because aspect ratio, we would like to have it the same way as it was rendered by some Apple designers that created this image. And here, as you can see, it covers the real aspect ratio, and now it doesn't seem some kind of bulky and stretchy to the all of screen here. So as we can see that we have like resizable, we have the aspect ratio, and now it has some kind of normal aspect ratio, but it also currently stretches into the entire width of our screen, and I would like to put it into some kind of frame, and frame would be with width of 250. So, and now it looks a little bit closer to real life or something like that, because currently it says us London, and it says some kind of picture itself that gives us a representation of current weather. So I would like to go with 200, and maybe after that I would put the height to 200, because basically different images would have different aspect ratio, and from our side, if we provide different images here, I would like it to have the same width and same height as a frame, basically as an image here itself. And as you can see currently in center of our screen, but I would like to put it on the top, because after that we will have additional data and additional information about that. So I would like to put a spacer here in our v-stack. So basically you can see that it's nested into our Z stack, it's nested into our V stack, basically. And in our V stack, we have the first element is a text here, we have a second element of image here, and we have like a third kind of element that says us it's a spacer, and it gives us all possible space under it. So basically, we have our space and our stack here. As you can see, it shows us a stack that stretches up into all the possible views of our screen here, and it doesn't go under the dynamic island because it respects the safe area itself. As you remember that for linear gradient we put the edges ignoring safe area, so it goes into the all screen, but here for VStack we don't have this modifier, so basically it respects the safe area here. So if we put, just for experimenting here to VStack, our edge ignoring safe area, as you can see it goes here under the dynamic island. If we add some text here, so it goes under the dynamic island. So it's seen a bit bulky. So I would like not to do that, just as an experiment to see and to show you how does it look like. So here, as you can see, we have our first ever VStack with some kind of data. Here we have text of London, we have an image of our cloud, sun and fill, and we have a spacer. So also I would like to add some kind of temperature here with degrees, and I would like to copy the text London, but currently it would say us a London, yeah, as a default value, as a black small text, and I would like to put some kind of 20 degrees. If you combine your keys Option Shift and 8 would give you a degree character, degree symbol here, and as you can see it shows us as 20 degrees. Perfect, that we have 20 degrees in London with this image. And I also would like to make it a bit bigger, so let's go the same way with font, with system, and with size of maybe 36 to make it a little bit bigger than London here. Oh, it's perfect. So let's make it a London with 36, and I also would like it to be foreground color of white. Perfect. And we have our first VStack here. And basically, if we would like to stack few stacks here, because as you remember from our decomposition, we have some kind of top stack of top data, and we have a stack on the bottom of it, a stack with some kind of forecast. We would like to nest it in few stacks, and we would like to nest it in next lesson. And now I would like to show you how would I search for these system names of these images, because probably in future you would like to use some other images, and Apple designers and Apple engineers actually created the special application for that. I would like to show you how it looks like. And in this lesson, I would like to show you where to find all of these images, system names, etc. for images that we use in our application, because all those weather icons, those are already designed by Apple. Basically, they are designed by designers in Apple somewhere. We can use that just as default values and default icons and default images for our application at start. Because basically, when you go and work as an iOS developer, basically you would have a designer in your team which would provide design icons or images for you as some kind of extracted designs that you would like to have in your application or in your Xcode. But now, basically, as a start of our development, we would like to use the basic key concepts and basic icons that are provided by Apple itself. So let's go to our browser, and I would like to show you that it's called SF symbol. You can just Google SF symbols and basically just go into the Apple developer site here, and here it would show you the SF symbols application. So basically it is an application that gives you a possibility to find different default images here. Basically those can be some animations, there can be some kind of motion design, etc. And there are a lot of different symbols and a lot of new icons here, and it's being updated really often. So here you just go to SF symbols, and here you can download the latest version. So just download the 5.1 or maybe the newest one that you have at the moment of you seeing this video. And here I can already see it. I have already downloaded and installed. Basically, you're just downloading and install it as a like normal application on your Mac computer. And here you can find different weather or different icon, not only weather here. So basically it's like an application of SF symbols, and you can go into all to see what kind of different icons we can see. Here there are some variations here that you can see new images like multicolor, variable color, communication with some microphone, some speakers and some messages, or maybe gaming with some flags here, with some finish flags or controllers to show in your game, or maybe some humans like an profile images or folders or some data drive or something like that. And here you can go just into all and just search for your icons, and here we can search for our sun or sun feel. And as you can see, here I would like to find our cloud sun feel. And here is the icon that I used already in our application. It's called like cloud sun feel here. And as you can see, there are different variations of the same image itself, but they all are called differently here. And we can see that it's cloud sun bolt feel, or we have like our cloud sun feel that I have already used. So let's just copy the new one. Let's go to the Xcode here, and I can change it here to another value. So basically it goes with cloud sun rain feel, and here as you can see it shows us a little bit rain. Because of the rain itself is a little bit blue, it interrupts a little bit with a blue on the background, but basically it's like a key concept of different images that you can use. And here as you can see also that basically we provided the frame of 200 to 200 and aspect ratio of fit. So basically the frame of itself, it stays the same. This we can change, like check with background, and let's provide the color dot red here. And as you can see with red, you would see the frame of image itself. But if we change the image to another one here, as you can see, it provides the another like state of it, and the cloud goes a little bit into the top. At the bottom part there appeared the rain itself, and it's kind of stretched into this frame. So basically that's the concept of aspect ratio and providing different images into the same frame. So that was about images. Thank you, and proceed to the next lesson. Basically, as you remember, we decomposed our application into few parts here, and we have a background, we have a top part, and we have like a middle part with some forecast here. And if we decompose it, basically you remember that we have a vertical stack of few components here, of the top part, of the middle part, and the bottom part. And basically the forecast, it also a stack, but it's horizontal. It's horizontal stack of the same components, which also provides this stack. And basically here, as you can see, it's like a horizontal stack of few vertical stacks that also have some kind of components here of number of the day, of the future, of months. There's another component of image here, and it is also says as a future degree size here. Basically it's like a temperature for future days. So let's create this component. Here, basically, we at the same point that we ended the last lesson here, we have like our Z stack, we have our V stack, and we have text, image, text, and spacer. Basically, at this point, we have like a stack of all the components here, but I also would like to decompose those to different components. And here, as you remember, we can stack and nest stacks into each other. So basically, I would like to create another VStack with image and text here. So I would like to put this one here. Yeah, and as you remember, it creates it. And here, as you can see, it's like a lot of space here between the image itself and the text here. So I would like to decrease this value of spacing between them. And here at stack, you can have the additional initializer with additional components and additional parameters. And I would like to go with spacing here. And spacing, I would like to make it 10 or something like that. Yeah, it was almost like that with 10, but maybe let's make it 4. Oh, not 14, but 4. Perfect. As you can see, with spacing, you can just move the space between few components in this particular stack. So basically, we have the like basic V stack with London and with another stack with spacing on 4. So basically, this stack, if we choose it here as V stack, here on the preview, as you can see, it is a stack of image and temperature size. And if we add the same spacing at the like parent stack or main stack here, spacing, and if I add here some bigger values of 40 or maybe even of 100, you would see the difference. So basically, this spacing of VStack that is nested here, it would go with spacing of 4 between the temperature and the image. And here, it is a VStack of like the main one with London and this second VStack, and it has a spacing of 100. So here is a 100, here's the stack with spacing of 4, and if we add additional text, like the same one of London here, it would have the spacing of 100 here, as well as between the text of London and this stack of image and text stack or something like that. So basically, this is how we nest stacks into each other. So now I would like to go with horizontal stack, because as you remember, we have few components of the forecast here, and as you remember, it's like a horizontal stacks of each day. It would be a horizontal stack, and here inside of it, each component is also a VStack. And there I would like to add the day name. Basically, it would be a text of Tuesday or something like that for future. Then I would also add an image of some other day and other type, but currently I will just copy and paste it with Command C and Command V. Here it would be Tuesday, here it will be an image, and here I would also add the temperature itself for this day. Perfect. Let's remove the London from our parent stack. And here, as you can see, it's like an horizontal stack which has only one component of VStack here, and we have 3 components inside of it. And if we just take this vertical stack and copy and paste it here, hooray, you can see that it's combined 2 stacks into one horizontal stack. So as you can see, previously we used the VStack, but currently we are using the horizontal stack or H stack here, and it combines 2 components which also have a component of VStacks here. As you can see, it's like it's the first one, it is the second one, and let's just for an example make a background different for them. So let's make background of red for this one, and for this one I would like to make a background of green. So, perfect. And as you can see, those are 2 VStacks that contain a Tuesday, that contain some other image, and contain like temperature degree. And it also combined into horizontal stack that gives us a possibility to align things horizontally. So basically, it looks like that. But as you can see, there is a problem that basically you are just copy and pasting those data into like the same VStacks, and as a programmer, I would like to think that basically it's the same view that I am reusing. So if you would like to think as a programmer at the future that you would like to reuse some things, and in this particular case that you would like to reuse the image, like the stack of the particular day for future, I would like to put it into additional view. And you can accomplish it by selecting your key components that are provided by this view. Basically, as you can see, we have each horizontal view with text, with image, and with text of degrees. If you change it here, and if you change it like here, as you can see, the first one would be with sun, and second one would be with without any sun, and basically the second day would be Wednesday. So we have 2 days of Wednesday and image and some kind of temperature. Those have different data inside of it here as a strings of daytime, of day of the week, of the image and the temperature basically, but structurally it has the same structure as the previous one here, because we have text, image, text. Here we have a text, image, and text. And I would like to make an additional component for this part. What you have to do, you just select the components that you would like to embed into additional view. You put and you just press Ctrl and Tab into this. And here you can see there are a lot of options that you can do in this SwiftUI view. You can embed it into horizontal stack, vertical stack, Z stack, embed and list. But currently, what I would like to do, I would like to extract subview. So basically, subviews, it's a concept of a few views that you can reuse with itself. Basically, as you can see here, it created for me an extracted view as a struct here, and it has already our text of Wednesday. So basically here we have like our parent view of content view, that is basic one, and here we have another view. Extracted view is has a type of view here, and as you can see, it also can be used here. So you in SwiftUI can also use not only the default values and default components, but you also can create your own. In this particular case, we would like to have the component that embeds and consists of few components. In our side, basically, it's like a text, image, and text. So it would be an extracted view. So here, as you can see, it's like embedded into VStack, and here the body is provided with few components. But if we remove the VStack here with green background, and I put it into the right position here, as you can see, it provided as a set of components here, and as we can see that it's currently the horizontal stack that has some kind of values here, the first VStack and extracted view, and extracted view is combined with few components, and it's stretched into the horizontal view one by one here, and we don't it is to be like that, and there's the one thing that is missed basically, and the thing that is missed, basically we have the extracted view to have a vertical stack that combines all those elements. So I would like to put the vertical stack here and put all the components inside this vertical stack. Yeah, perfect. And as you can see, now it is combined into one extracted view. And let's rename it into some kind of day weather container. Yeah, because it's like a view of container that it contains some view differences. And let's use it the same way here. It would be a day weather container, and it also would be a day weather container here. And as you can see, we have a horizontal stack. It builds a bit. Yeah, perfect. It has like a horizontal stack of 2 day weather containers that are basically the same now. And each day weather container contains the vertical stack of text, image, and text. And here, as you can see, basically is what we have done. But basically there is a problem that in each day weather container, if we create another one, and another one, and another one, so we would like to create five of them. There is a problem that basically it has the same data here, So we created almost the same way like it works on the real weather application here. So we would have some kind of forecast for 6 days upfront. So basically it's a horizontal stack of day weather containers, but each container has the same data. It would have the Wednesday, the cloud fill, and 23 degrees. And as you can see, it goes the same way like this. So what would I like to do? I would like to have some kind of parameters for this day weather container just to provide from parent view to the child view. So child view would have some kind of custom data that we would like to provide in our view. So I would like to go with day name, and it is a type of string, as you remember that it is a variable, it is a day name, and it is a type of string. Also, we can make a constant here, basically, because we would not like to change it right now. So I would like to create another one of let image name, and it also would be a string, and another one degrees temperature. It would be an integer. So basically it's just a number because here is a number. So, and I would like to provide those data to our views. So basically this is a day name, and I would like to provide it into our text here. Here's the image name, and I would like to provide it into our image name here. As you can see, it's like an variable and constant that is provided as a parameter into other views. So basically here I can use the data from here. So basically our day weather container, it would contain the day name, image name, and degrees temperature, which is provided to our views. So here I would like to provide the degrees temperature, but here, as you remember, that basically it is a string with degrees character, and I would like to provide this integer number into the string. And for that, you can use a string interpolation, and the interpolation writes like backward slash and parentheses. And you can provide the parameter into parentheses, and it would append this number into the string inside the string. So basically now we have like a container of day weather container, but as you can see, it failed to build. So basically we have to provide something just to build our day weather container. And here, as you can see, in each day weather container, we have missed parameters. So if we create it again, let's return. I was right. Here, as you can see, it says us missing arguments for parameters: day name, image name, degrees temperature. So we can go and just fix it with this button here, or we can just to recreate our initializer here, put enter, and here you can see the parameters that have to go into our day weather container. So let's say that first day would be Monday. The image name, let's go with the same that was before that, the cloud sun fill here with a string type, as you can see. And degrees temperature on Monday, it would be like 23. Perfect. And we would like to go and make the same way into our containers. And I filled my data here at the day weather container. And as you can see, it has like different types of weather here with different data. So basically what we have accomplished, that basically we have created the day weather containers that consist of same elements of text, image, and text here. It's like a name of the weekday or something like that. We have the image here, and we have the degrees counter, but basically it's all black right now. So let's a little bit refactor it just to have a little bit better looking way of that. So I would like to add the spacing here between the elements of each vstack here. So it would be like 8. Let's create an 8. Yeah, it gives us a little bit more space between them. So let's go with text, and let's make it font system of system of size of 16 or something like that. Yeah, it makes a bit smaller. Let's make 24. Yeah, perfect. Almost perfect. We will see that it's a bit, maybe let's make 20. Oh yeah, 20 is perfect. And for text in the bottom, the same way that I would like to make it 20. Yeah, basically. Now I would like to make a foreground color, but for foreground color of white, and the same way for text at the bottom here. Yeah, and I also would like to do the same way as we did with our big image, with rendering mode, with resizable, with aspect ratio, but I would like to provide another frame size. So now it would be a bit bulky, yeah, as you can see, because it's 200 by 200, but I would like to make it maybe 20 to 20. And oh, and 20 to 20 is a little bit small, so let's make it maybe 30 by 30. Yeah, and now it's a little bit better. So now, as you can see, we used our horizontal stack with day weather containers. That basically we created additional view for that. That is the same, but with different data. And we provided different data here with 6 containers. Here, as you can see, those are 6, and it's like the first one, the second one, the third one here, and it shows on our preview here. And it goes all the way into our horizontal stack. So basically here. And the last thing that is touching my eye here is that the white color here is a bit conflicting with white gradient here. So in next lesson, I would like to change it. So, and the last thing that I don't really like that we have here, basically, is that it's like a conflict of white gradient here at the bottom trailing part of our screen here, and the white text here on our forecast. So basically, I would like to change it to some kind of custom color. As you remember, we have a linear gradient here to the full screen cover, like basically it covers the full screen, and it has two colors here. It's blue and it's white. If we change it to blue, to another one, basically it would be the blue for the full one, basically. But I would like to remain with gradient, but I would like to change the second color of this gradient. Here is a top leading and here is a bottom leading. So basically I would like to change the color, and I would like to create my own color for that. So let's go here to assets, and here it's called asset catalog. And basically in asset catalog, you have assets, colors, etc. Like different assets that your application would have. And here you can add new one. And here with plus sign, I would like to add the color set here. And basically I would like to name it like light blue currently. And now, as you can see, I have a custom color of light blue. But basically right now it is all way white here, and I would like to change it. Here you can go to the inspector of this particular component here, and as you can see here, those are some kind of sliders for this exact appearance. Basically, we have few variations for any appearance and dark. Basically, dark is one for dark theme, like a dark color theme of your phone or your application, but now we will go only with any appearance, so it would have like the same color to any appearance. And here I would like to change it to slide a little bit of light blue to this part. So basically, as you can see, there are red, green, and blue components, so you can just to change it here, and you can just experiment a little bit with that just to see the changing of colors. But now I would go only with light blue component, and now it has the same name as a real color of this color. So now basically it has a name of light blue. And let's return to our content view. I would like to hide our inspector, make the preview a little bit smaller. And here, as you can see, we have few colors. I would like to have another custom color. So I would like to color, and the color would have like the name of color and bundle. You don't need the bundle name right now because we have like one bundle and one application. And here we can go only with name, and name is light blue. And I would like to remove bundle because we don't need it right now. And here, what we got, yeah, perfect. As you can see, it changed from white to light blue at the gradient, and we have the gradient from like the normal blue to our custom light blue here, as you can see. And basically, we have much better look for this weather forecast. So basically, we can read every scene and every data that is shown here. It looks much better. So that's the part about our basic UI for this. And very last part of it, as you remember, I promised for you to make a button that does something in this particular UI. And basically, let's create our button. Here, as you remember, we have a vstack of spacing of 100. Let's maybe make it a little bit less, just to 80, yeah. And in this vertical stack, we have our text of London, we have our top vertical stack of image and the temperature itself for today. And here we have a forecast of horizontal stack of day weather containers, which contain different data for different day. So basically it's like Monday, some different images and different degrees here. And as you can see, it shows us different days with different forecasts. And the last thing, I would like to make a button. So button, you can see that it goes with action and label. And here with action and label, I would like to go with action and with label here. Yeah, perfect. So currently it's pretty standard and pretty simple here, but I would like to make it also with brackets here, and I have two spaces here. So basically it is an action and it is a label. So let's make the action as printing. As you remember, print is like a basic function for printing anything to console. So let's print our like button tapped, and we would know that basically the button was tapped as we tap it as an action for this button, and label would be the text button. So basically let's check to another text, and I would like to change day time, and now it says us the text, and I would like to change it frame to width of 280 and to make it of height of 50. Yeah, it would have the frame of it. Then I would like to make a background of white. Okay. And now I would like to make a font of system of size of 20, and I would like to make it bold. The next parameter here, as you can see, it gives me a correcting of my parameters here. So I would like to insert weight here, and as you can see, it changes the weight of the text itself to bold here, and I would like to make a corner radius to this button as 10. And as you can see, it shows us like a real button, and it looks like a real button in real application. So basically, as you can see, it says us that we can change daytime, and by changing the daytime, we can do some stuff here. And to actual action and to actual button, we will proceed in next lesson, but currently just a key concept of that. And I would like to add the spacer between that. And as you can see, spacer gives us a possibility to change it. I would like to make the smaller spacing here. Yeah, perfect. And spacer, basically, it gives us a possibility to put the views inside of the container and put views with some spacing between the end of the view and end of the container to our view. So basically we have our basic vstack here, and we have like a button at the bottom side, and spacer at the bottom gives us some space at the bottom of this V stack. So basically this is the button that has some kind of action here, and we have a label. And let's run the application for the first time. So as you can see, I have put the start the active scheme. Basically, currently we will run the weather app on the iPhone 15 Pro, and it starts on a simulator, and simulator starts here. And let's wait for it for one moment. Running weather app, and we have to see our created UI on the real simulator. As you remember, simulator basically it is the simulation of the real device, but on your computer. And basically here you can see all your UI that you have created with me via this module. And here, as you can see, this is a button. And if you put and just tap on your button here, you can see the console inside Xcode for this particular project that says you that you have tapped your button, and this is the action that we have here. As you remember from previous modules, that basically it is like a function that is called when some user inputs, and basically our action here, it is a printing of button tapped, and we are printing button tapped each time the button is being tapped. So basically I tap the button, and as you can see, the action is being executed. So basically each time that I tap our button, the print statement goes into our console. And this is the concept for making user input into our apps. So basically I just tap or do some scrolling or do some gestures or something like that. And at the base of it, I can change the state of my application, I can make some navigation, I can put some data, etc. So that's the iOS development as its glance. So, and how to react to our button and how to change actually the state of our application by tap of the button. This is the introduction into states and binding, because basically the content view and how SwiftUI works, that it's recreating the application and recreating the view itself each time that something is changed there, but we can store some kind of state there just to recreate this view correctly each time. So basically we have to go with add state basically, and we are creating our variable of the state, and it would be the type of boolean, and it would have the true value at start. Let's maybe change it to is data. So we would like to understand that basically if the boolean value is true, then it says that it is daytime, and if it's false, then it's not a day, but it is a night. And I would like to change this value after I'm tapping my button here. So is daytime, I would like to change it to false, because at start we have true, and at the end we would like to have false. I would like to remove the print statement, because now we know that it prints something to console. And what is going on here? I have a button that on action I would like to change the variable of state of is daytime to false here, and to react into this value I have to provide it in our parts of the code. So here let's see what we have in our gradient. I would like to change it here. And in our gradient here we have few colors, and I would like to change basically the state of this gradient if we change our is daytime. If you remember the if statement, that if some statement as like if is daytime equals to true, that basically it equals to true, then we do some stuff here, and then if we have the else statement here with braces, you remember that it's like a control flow that we can react into the state of some Boolean value. Basically, right now we have a Boolean value of isDaytime. It is true, and if it goes with false, then we do something when it false. As you remember from previous modules that we were printing something here, and if we printing something here, then we know that isDaytime is true, and if it's not true, then it prints here. And we can use the same syntaxes and same construction in another way, and it named as a ternary operator. If we write this as isDaytime equal to true, and we put the question mark here, and we put some printing there, and then we put the colon and print here, it would be the same as we see this control flow. Here, basically, if I put the print statement that is day time is true, and here if I put the like is day time is false here, so that syntaxes would do the same like this, that if we can see that question mark, that basically if the isDaytime is true, then we have to print the isDaytime is true, and if we have the opposite value after colon, then it would print the isDaytime is false. So basically, it's kind of example of statements that I will show you here after that. So basically, we have the linear gradient here, and I would like to react to isDaytime. So I would like to check if isDaytime is true, and if it's true, then it will go with color blue, and if it's false, then I would like to go with color black. Yeah, so when we change our daytime, it would change to black this time, and if it's true, then it will remain the blue. So, and let's do the same way here. As you can see, there are some few components here after that. And I would like to put the color here. Yeah, basically it is an array, and I would like to change it to color gray. Yep, perfect. And now, as you can see, it builds. I would like to change a bit the layout here. After column, I will change this one, and here, yeah. And I can put the Control I just to make the layout of code a little bit closer to real. Yeah, like this. Color gradient. Oh, yeah, I have to put this one. Then I just select everything, Control E, Control I, and now it looks a little bit more readable. And as you can see here, we have colors array, and we have like two options. And basically, if it is daytime, then it goes with color blue, and the second color will be the color light blue that we created. But if it changed to false, then we would like to have the gradient of black and gray. And this syntaxes we can use everywhere where we have some kind of different data that is varies between the date and the day and night. Let's change this one, and let's maybe change our image, the basic image of cloud sun fill. I would like to change it by isDaytime by question mark, and at the daytime when the value is true, then it will remain the same as cloud sun fill, but for the night we will go to our SF symbols, and I would like to add our moon stars. As you can see, there are a lot of options here, and I would like to add moon stars, and I would like to change it to moon stars. Yeah, here. As you can see, it's like an if-else statement that if we have the isDaytime to this part, then if it's false, then we would like to have the moon stars. And the isDaytime is changed by button. So let's start our application and check what it shows us. Installing weather app. Let's open our simulator here. It starts. Perfect. We have our application, and if we tap into our button here, it changes the color into another one. If we tap another time, now it doesn't work, and basically that's because our button is changing it into false state only. And if we would like to toggle it, like if it's true to make it false, and if it's false to make it true, then I would like to put the same if statement that if isDaytime equals to true, then I would like to put it into false. And else, basically, is that if the isDayTime is false here, I would like to put it into true. And let's stop it. Let's restart it and let's check our application. So I would like to tap into change daytime. It changed, perfect. And then it changed back to daytime. So that's how you work with data input and input of user into your button in your application. Thank you very much. Hooray! My greeting to you with completion of your first ever course of iOS developer. You have made a big journey and I'm so proud of you. You have learned the basic concepts of Swift programming language. As you already remember, we created our constants and variables, made different operations with basic data types, wrote functions and reused them. And then we dived into SwiftUI and created different stacks with it, put their text and made it colorful. And at the end, we implemented our copy of weather app with the user action. That was so cool. And I'm really happy for you that you accomplished this course and you know a lot of basics of iOS development. At this point, your iOS development journey has already begun, and now it's a matter of time and practice to become a junior iOS developer. We will dive more deeply into intermediate topics in next modules of my course, so see you in future. And the most important thing, keep moving forward.